Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a 2001 Toyota Mark II. This is a JZX110. So a lot of people know about the JZX90s and the JZX100s and don't realize that they still continue for 1 year only as a Mark II. You never got the Chaser in this generation or the Cresta, just the Mark II continued. Okay, so this one's been slammed right down to the ground. You have like 3 centimeters. I can put in these 3 fingers barely. I could put in these 2, couldn't put in these 3 underneath the side skirt there. The car's going to be lifted before it gets shipped, but it definitely has an appearance that is going to be noticeable, and if that's not noticeable enough, the noisiness of the exhaust is extreme, and that's why the engine is off right now. The engine runs fine, really no issue with it. It is a 1JZ single turbo version, which is actually quite a bit better than the twin turbo version that came earlier. It gets more torque, lower down in the RPM range, and a bit more power, but still technically capped at 280 horsepower. This one has had a painted section of the timing belt cover. Timing has been changed twice at 95,000 kilometers in an age that I can no longer read, and then in 2020 at 151,703 kilometers. It has an aftermarket radiator there, quite a large one. Aftermarket piping for an aftermarket intercooler. Okay, and an air filter, and suspension here by 326 power. Everything else appears to be original in this section here. I'm going to close the hood now. I'm just going to marvel again at exactly how low this car is. It is insane. Look at that wheel. It barely fits in there, and I do really like the wheels, and they're highly cambered in order to fit with a highly stretched tire. If you want to safely drive this car, you'll probably have to change the wheels and tires. That's really too much stretch to be safe. And Mike has had a tire fall off on a car that he was driving. Look at how much stretch there is in that. Yep, and I know that there's going to be a lot of hate in the comment section. It is a style that not everyone is going to like. It looks absolutely inconvenient to drive, but don't tell other people what to do with their car unless it's going to be a safety hazard. But in all honesty, as long as you keep your tire pressures up, you're not going to have a problem with highly stretched tires. Just remember that drift guys highly stretch their tires all the time, and they're going sideways and putting tons and tons of stress into their tires. They're not popping off all the time. And so, fight me in the comments with that if you want to. Here's the auction inspection sheet. It was bought from USS Tokyo. It's going to be going over to Canada, which will be fun to drive in the snow. You can use this as a snow plow. It's funny. It's not that funny. But condition-wise, the car is great. And so, goodbye on this one. So, a 2001 Toyota Mark II IVR is the turbo version of it. It's 2-wheel drive, of course. I think you can get it in 4-wheel drive, but not with the turbo engine. You can't get 2JZ turbo or 1JZ turbo with 4-wheel drive in any car, as far as I know. Auction read 3.5, interior C, 169, 786 kilometers, but timing belt changed twice, and so, plus that's not really that high of mileage. That's in kilometers, remember. Still has current registration. This is a 5-speed manual. It's fantastic. They still made these in 5 speeds. Most of them are in auto, but 5-speed. This is an original 5-speed too, I believe. I don't see any comments here that say otherwise. Okay, sales points. Purchase from user, original 5-speed manual. There you go. Aftermarket radiator, aftermarket intercooler, adjustable suspension, 18-inch wheels. Aftermarket exhaust. The exhaust is almost a straight through. I mean, it's not. But I believe maybe a high-flow cat or something. It's louder than this exhaust usually is. I think it's an HKS high power. Nurspec. Blitz Nurspec. Yeah, because the car is lowered so much, the muffler is pretty close to the ground too. I wonder how much we can lift this. I think the tire circumference is actually smaller than original in order to make it this low. What else do we got? Look at that. I can't even put my foot underneath. There you go. Okay, spin turn knob for the e-brake. That's like a drift knob that prevents it from locking. Okay, aftermarket aero parts. I can't read, but I think it says late model. Okay, 1JZ turbo engine. Oh, the late model fenders and headlights and taillights. Okay, I didn't realize that there was a difference, but okay. And power seat for the driver. The report here, trim is dented and cigarette burn. There's actually 3 cigarette burns in the driver's door card, and it is dented. Okay, interior dirty and cigarette burn. Headliner dirty and cigarette burn. Fender arches have been modified. Very modified. They've been pulled out. And they still manage to rub a little bit. So the paint in here is a little bit gone. So touch up paint and then boost the car up. Even 1 centimeter would make a big difference, I think. What else do we got? Jack and tools are missing. Spare tire house scratched and dented because it's too low. Dashboard comes up or comes away. You can see the orange section here. I took a picture of it so that you can see. You can't really notice it while you're driving, but you can see it from the outside here. Okay, various scratches and dents. Aero parts scratched and cracked. W3 on the roof. It actually looks fine. It looks like a W2. I don't really see any areas that are extremely bad, which a W3 should be. Y1 here. Y1 is a crack. It's right here. Okay. The spare tire is missing and a scuff on the front bumper. The underside of the front bumper is basically all scuffed. And then I didn't take any undercar pictures of this car, obvious as to why that is. But in case you're an idiot, the camera won't fit underneath the car. Okay, this car was very hard to park in our lot. We had to use wood just to get it into our lot, which basically doesn't have much of a slope at all. The Mark II has always been a good car. The JZX90s are phenomenal. The 100s are even better. 110s I don't have as much experience with. They're a little bit taller in stature, give you a little bit more room on the inside. They still feel great to drive, and then styling is objective. If you are interested in the JZX100s though, they tend to be a little bit more expensive than the JZX110s, and so it seems like the market has decided that these ones aren't as valuable as the 100s. But they certainly are very close to the same price because, you know, a sedan with a manual transmission and the turbocharged 2.5 liter inline 6-cylinder, it's a fantastic package. And I think everyone would agree after driving this that it's a fantastic car to drive. In automatic or manual. Missing a light there, it looks like. Marker light has been removed. Maybe that's because marker light's integrated now into the headlight. Is that the late model version? I'm not sure. I feel like this grille might also be a late model version, but some of the chrome is peeling on it. Okay, headlights are nice and bright. They're not faded at all. They might have been brand new headlights used to replace. Sometimes you could find those a few years back. Okay, front bumper doesn't really have any damage, but it doesn't look like it was like... There's some flex cracks here, but it doesn't look like there's like they took their time to sand it down before installing it or painting it. A little bit not fit here, or maybe they've repaired it from some damage. Some flex cracks there in the paint. I guess you could consider that to be damage on the bumper. And yeah, it has been fixed in this area before. I think it's pretty easy to notice that. Down here, some damage as well. Side skirt has a crack here and a crack there. The rest of the side skirt's remarkably in good condition considering it's only a few fingers, not even an iPhone from the ground. Okay. All that panel is good. Back bumper is the same thing as the front bumper. It's really dirty for one, but kind of has the look like it could have used another half hour of sanding before you install it. But, you know, aftermarket bumpers are just like that. Pretty commonly like that, at least. You can see the back fenders barely, you can't even put a pinky finger in between the tire and the fender in here. And then tires are a Kenda tire, which I haven't had good luck with. They're a very cheap tire. You come down here, and there's actually mark from where the original side skirt used to be. And then some paint chips on the edge of the spoiler there. Okay, into the car. I guess we'll start with the driver's area. And I'll just pull this key out. I'm used to being able to put my foot underneath the car, but you can't here, so I keep kicking the side skirts. Sorry about that. As I'm doing it. There's the dent in the door card. A little bit strange. I don't think I've seen something like that before on these cars. Very weird. Okay, cigarette burns. 1, 2, 3. They don't stand out that much. Okay. Now, inside the car, cigarette burns. I found the one in the headliner, but I don't think I found any other ones. They said the carpet has a cigarette burn. And it's almost always the driver that's doing it, because the driver's all stressed out, like, oh, driving so hard when the car is this low. Man, I shouldn't be mentioning that so much. Oh, where did I see that? I did take a picture of, I think, one cigarette burn. And the interior smells very much like a Yankees car. Yankee is a Japanese term for kind of like hooligan or chav, I guess, if you're from the UK, which I'm not, so I don't know why I said that. They always like to smoke in their cars and then have a lot of air fresheners. So he particularly likes this red wine brand because not only does he have one there, and these oil type ones are really strong. He's got all of his used ones here. 1, 2, 3 fragrance gels. Red wine, his favorite flavor or scent. You can't close this anymore because there's too much fresh air in here, which oddly is not very fresh. Not oddly, that's understandable. Okay, pedal covers on there, just clip-on style ones, and not my cup of tea, as people know. Seat, good condition. I like these seats. I think they're maybe a little bit better than the JZX110s, which are a little bit better than the JZX90s, but everyone has a different shaped body. Okay, gauge set. Pretty simple there. Wow, that smell. And this is all really simple too. It's really more about driving and the fun of driving. And yes, the Crowns and the Chasers and the Mark IIs and the Supras of the world, they're very fun to drive. Toyota really got them right. Okay. All right. All pretty good on the interior. Like I said, this is a quite good condition vehicle. And you keep it in good shape and then wait until it's US legal and then sell it to somebody there. You get a free car plus an investment. I really shouldn't be talking about how cars are investments with the price that they currently are, but you know prices go up when they become US legal, and someone's got to own this car until there. Oh, let's show you the cigarette burns in the headliner. Okay. Inside the trunk is nice and clean as can be, and has a carbon fiber rear strut tower brace. I'm not actually sure how good the chassis is, how stiff the chassis is on these cars. So I don't know how much the chassis brace helps you compared to just regular, but it doesn't hurt. It's nice to have a good stiff chassis in a car. And as I get older, I want that more in the cars that I drive. Okay, so I think we showed basically everything that we need to. We're going to get someone to actually lift it up here because it can't go to a shop because it can't actually drive. Our area is fairly hilly. I don't know if you noticed, but we're on a hill right here. Everywhere around here is full of hills, so we can't really drive this to a mechanic. We had to pay extra to get a special loader for McLarens and Ferraris to bring it here without any damage. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.